Welcome back, my fellow agents. It is I, the Super Agent X7, the Masked Marauder on occasion, the host of Zenorama, the podcast of heroes and monsters, as you can tell. And today we're going to be talking about the 1975 Zorro, starring Alain Delon and many other people. But we'll go into here. So, before we do that, though, please like, share, subscribe, vote in the poll, leave a comment, and however you're consuming this media, please consume it for a couple more minutes, a couple minutes longer, that is. We'd really appreciate it. It really helps the whole algorithm. All right, so 1975, as you can see, this is starring Alain Delon, and I did talk to somebody about the pronunciation of that, and even though it has an I in it, it's Alain Delon. He was a very international star, passed away just in August of this year. So he was 88 years old, a good looking guy, and he did lots and lots of movies, just critically acclaimed. La Samurai is one of his ones that he did. He did this because this Zorro movie, he wanted to do another swashbuckler after doing The Black Tulip in 1964. So he only had to wait 10 years as filming started in 74 of this. It was released in Europe in 75 and then brought over here by Allied artists in 76.
Zorro's back. Zorro, the greatest hero of them all.
Well, he's not wrong. He's certainly one of the most influential heroes. We have talked about Zorro in the past, but not this movie in general. So you can see here, 1975, copyright renewed in 2005. Unfortunately, this movie's never been released, or hasn't, in a really nice DVD or Blu-ray set with all sorts of extras in this country. It's gotten a lot of cheapo. There's Alan there himself. We'll see a lot more of that face. He's looking very serious. His name is Diego in this movie. What a stretch. What a surprise. But the movie's never been released over here properly, as far as I can tell. There was a double DVD set, well, probably about 20 years ago, 15 years ago. It's ridiculously priced now, but there were a lot of cheap DVDs of it that ran about 87 minutes. So, they took out a good almost 40 minutes of the movie. It is a long movie. It was made in, I think, in Italy, but it was produced by or Italy and France, and based on Zorro by Johnston McCulley. And it runs 124 minutes. The copy I had is obviously a European one, shortened by about 7 minutes due to the PAL conversion. Should probably explain why some of the lip sync or the dubbing was off, but it was dubbed in English and it is complete. It's a long movie, which, as we'll find out, there it is, the nice title there. I've yet to figure out who did the dubbing. It might have been dubbed over there in Europe, which doesn't surprise me. It sounds like it. They had most of the movies at this point in time were still shot silently. I don't know about France, but definitely Italy. And then all the sound was added in. I mean, they probably had sound there, but sometimes you wouldn't get the same actors. But all of the actors there. Let's see, an Italo-French corporation. This is who was responsible for it. It's the most popular movie ever released in Europe. About Zorro. So here is Duccio Tassari. I'm assuming that's Duccio. Don't pass the Duccio on the left-hand side. He was an Italian film director and considered one of the fathers of spaghetti westerns. And this movie very much looks like a spaghetti western and sounds like it. It's also a Zorro movie, masked adventure, and a bit of a swashbuckler, even though he has no buckle to swash, but he does have a sword to swash. And he co-wrote Sergio Leone's A Fistful of Dollars and then started directing movies himself with A Pistol for Ringo in 1965. So he's a really good director. You can tell that he studied under a master, aka Sergio Leone. So he passed away in 1994 at the age of 67. Young man. All right, let's get going here. We got a lot of movie to talk about. Stanley Baker is our villain as Colonel Huerta, and he was a Welshman, and he passed away in '76, right after this movie was released. I hope you got to see it. He's from, so that's probably his voice we hear in that, because they would have had him dub himself. He did a lot of movies, but this one was one of his final movies. So he was also on TV, and he was in the Abominable Snowman in '57. So he was over there, did quite a lot of stuff. Good actor, great villain. You can tell he relished. He was having a great time with this movie. There's just in the intro of the movie, there's a picture of a cheetah. No, probably a leopard, but it's cute. So that's why we get him. Okay, so Diego here meets up with Miguel de Huerta. No, that's not right. Miguel de la Serna. So a little different. Diego is about to leave for Spain. They're kind of vague about what he does, but he's mercenary-ish. He's great with a sword, as we'll find out. There's Miguel. There's Miguel's wife. His dumb little kid's over here. And this is, drawing a blank again. I keep wanting to call him Felipe, but that's not who it is. It's Bernardo. Bernardo? I'll make sure. Let's see. Does it say? So, Miguel is going to Nueva Aragona in Alta California, which is Upper California. So it's not in Central America, no matter what this map looks like, because, there's Central America. But Diego was going to go back to Spain, but he does not. Because Don Fernando, Miguel's uncle, had just died of malaria, even though he's killed by Huerta. This is where Diego gets the truth out of the underlings who just killed Miguel. And I'm assuming that his wife and the boy go back to Spain, and there he is, grief-stricken, but he makes a promise not to kill anyone and not to be a violent man and live up to peace like his friend. I always thought it was his brother, but I'm hoping that even though Miguel Vega de la Serna, which doesn't make any sense, but I didn't write the script. So here we are in Nueva Aragona. We're seeing soldiers. We see a lot of soldiers riding, a lot of dust in this movie. I don't know exactly where it was filmed, and in part, let's see. It was filmed in Spain, so it looks beautiful. Most of the crew is from Italy, so there's probably not too much language barriers there. And it's, like I said, it's a long, long movie. And even the ones on television cut out certain scenes, which didn't hurt it at all, because there's a lot of stuff that, it's a little padded, but it's good. There's our villain. These are the fops, or the court of the rich people, the caballeros and their ladies. And there's Colonel Huerta, who wants to become governor, military and civil governor, which they always want to do. And there's Diego now pretending to be Miguel de la Serna, fake identity. And he's coming in and he's a total fop. So look at that face compared to the grief-stricken one. Delon was a great actor and just super cool too. This is Giacomo Rossi Stewart as Capitan Fritz von Markel, German national here, who's a bodyguard of somebody. Look at these gorgeous. I think these were probably shot. This was all probably shot in Rome, because it's just a gorgeous, well lit, well photographed. Huerta here is practicing 4-on-1 with his swordsmanship. And unfortunately, you can pretty much tell that's his stunt double right there. But when it's moving quickly in the movie, you don't notice. But since I actually caught that one. The swordsmanship is on display, is really good, although they do a lot of close-ups. I know that Delon and Baker probably knew how to fence, but for some of the more extensive ones, they probably used a lot of stunt doubles. But they did a good job. It looks like, they cut well. It was edited well. Oh, and the music. Where is the music? Was by Guido de Angelis and Mauricio de Angelis. And that song you hear.
Thank God for your life, Sergeant. Everyone knows the mark. Everyone knows the mask.
So that's the English trailer there. I chose the short one. But Oliver Onions sings the Zorro song, He's Back, or I don't even know what it's called off the top of my head. But it's really catchy, and they play it a lot in the movie. So, of course, Diego is all, oh, your weapons are sharp. And he's like, well, just as sharp as my villains. And here's where Huerta does the old candle trick where he slices them and they're falling down to impress him. It's an impressive trick. And just some more foppishness. There's Mustache, played Gonzalez, Sergeant Gonzalez, Garcia, pardon me, Gonzalez. Garcia, Gonzalez, a lot of them have different names in the different Zorros. He was known by his stage name as Mustache, Francois Alejandro Galapidis, and was a French actor and jazz drummer of Greek descent. So this was truly an international picture. And he's a buffoon and played for comedy, but he's very strong. He chops that suit right in half with his great broadsword. Here's Assassin, the Great Dane, because he's cute, even though he's gigantic. What do you? And he plays a part. He's the one who shows Diego the back, all the ins and outs of the secret passages there as it's opening up into the Bat Cave. I mean the Fox Cave, the Zorro Cave. Pardon me. There's just a nice shot of the crowds that they shot around in. It's probably a real market that they destroyed. I don't know if they built one and then paid them all or what, but there's a lot of. There's Chico. Now, he's probably about 8 or 10. I don't know. He doesn't have a page because he was young, and there's probably. Chico is played by Paulino Rito, and he's the one that introduces the concept of Zorro to Diego, the Avenger, the sly fox, and he's always causing mischief for the greedy merchants. So there's Bernardo there saying, "Look at is that the sign?" And they're like, "Yeah." So they're best buds and work well together. Which all Diegos should have their Bernardo. And here's Fray Felipe, or Brother Francisco. Jeez, getting my Zorro movies confused. He's against it and he's about to get in trouble. This is where they corral Chico and he tells him about the fox. Fray Felipe gets arrested, and here are speaking of fops and losers, corrupt judges and officials, and they're going to lash the I keep calling him Fray Felipe, don't I? Pardon me, Brother Francisco. They're going to lash him 30 times for bearing false witness, selling bad hides, and some other nonsense. There's our love interest, and she is played by Ottavio Piccolo as Hortensia Pulido, and she's still alive. She's 75 years old, and she's born in Italy. Been in lots of movies. Can't even list them all. This is the only one I've seen her in, probably. But she's very good and she's a firebrand too for social justice. And here's our introduction of Zorro, which he's when they're about to. We don't whip innocent people anymore. My favorite. They walks in out of focus, and then bango, and we see him. Now the mask could have been a little better. He probably didn't have a lot of peripheral vision, but great costume. And I'm sure if they're filming outside, he just sweat his bald cap off. There's this horse, never named. We're going to call him Tornado because that's traditional. And on this Earth, Z75, this is the Zorro. He's not a legacy hero, but he's an incarnation of a spirit. They do ask Chico if he's a Christian, and he says yes, but I believe in Zorro too. So go figure. There's our first Z carved into somebody's clothes without actually making him bleed. And now the corrupt officials and judges are getting their lashes, I think 3 or 4 times the amount of lashes they were going to give the brother Francisco there. I had another conversation with Huerta. These two have good chemistry too. I mean, they're just really good. I would assume Alan spoke English. I don't know. Wouldn't surprise me if he did. He was in a lot of movies and probably all over Europe. I don't know if he made anything in the in the states, but be that as it may. Okay, let's. I forget here.
Everyone cheers his fame. It's the all-new adventures of Zorro.
And this is about this time as having now the stunts in this movie are really good. Zorro does get to have a sword fight with Garcia, and of course just has to move sideways slightly. That cape, I am amazed. Although that looks like he's got his arms through it, so maybe it was a little more under control. But there are times I would have taken the cape off just to be a better fight. Chico here directs the kids to throw the soldiers' guns down the well, much to the chagrin of the soldiers. Smart kids. Chico is wonderful in this movie. He's the little actor is just really good and very personable. Doesn't overshadow. See, there's a stunt there from a roof. I hope these stuntmen got paid a lot of money because there's two of them that are headed down. And of course, everyone. I mean, we're assuming they were all safe, but there's Garcia with the Z on his bottom, very traditional. The Mask of Zorro took some stuff here. So normally we'd go to in many Zorro movies they go to in Zorro impersonates a brother or a monk, but here we just skip that. There's Huerta who's trying to get Hortensia to love him, but they have a little problem here, and Zorro tells him to get the fudge away from her, and makes him beg his forgiveness. So and she's giving him the look. Yeah. Now here is the captain, the German there, and I'm not sure if that's not Aunt Carmen. That's probably Senora de Serna. I don't know. Some of this goes by a little fast, but they like each other. And this is a trick to throw Huerta off the scent. So I'm sure Bernardo just carves these and everything. So they do let's put the woman in jail, and then Zorro will try to rescue her. This has been done a lot, and she's proud and just doesn't say a thing. And this is a running joke while they're in the. I tried to get some stills of action shots, but it's really the print is dark, and it's hard to see around there. But this guy appears 4 times trying to sound the alarm, and each is a different one. And the final one is the Zorro song that you hear in the background.
It's all for fun and fun for all.
And so there he is playing the fop, being scared. This is outside of the monastery where the children are taught school. Now we've moved pretty quickly. There's a whole scene where a bunch of guys and villains in white outfits try to steal a bunch of treasure, and Zorro foils them and allows the Herr Capitan to think he did it. And that was a surprise to me to see that in the first time I saw the complete. This was released on a VHS tape somewhere, and it was complete 124 minutes. I wish I kind of had forgotten to return that. But later, so that was a surprise because that scene was cut out. I never saw it ever growing up, and this was a staple on Channel 2 once it was off the main station, the networks. And it was probably edited down to in a 2-hour, 100 minutes maybe back then. But Mustache is a good actor. He's funny. He's not overbearing. Again, this beautiful scenery. A lot of these shots are just for that. Look at this. Spain is gorgeous. I would love to go there. Okay, and now that might be Hortensia's stunt double, but he told her that he couldn't come with him, and she said, "I am," and climbed right up there. So there they are. Nice look, and I'm sure that they weren't riding pell-mell on the carriage that did this. This is really a well-done miniature, or a full-size mock-up. They might have, but they're fake horses and a fake Zorro, of course. They crash into the sea. Huerta's all happy. He thinks that Zorro's dead. Now he's going to marry Hortensia. And then when that's all happening, everyone shows up and he shoots Brother Francisco. That There's lots of great lines in here, but that really Zorro decides, okay, I can kill you now. I have no problem with that. All the guards throw their guns down. I mean, they're done with him too. Everyone knows that he needs to be put down. So really, this is where you can tell the spaghetti western shows up, and it turns serious.
Zorro, the spirit of adventure.
It turns serious right now. This movie does. I mean, there's some sound. It's definitely, an Italian. It's got comedy in it, and it's a little broad, and some odd sound effects here and there. I mean, so you can find versions of this on YouTube if you want to watch it. Probably Daily Motion. I mean, yeah, he's not a fop anymore. He's an Avenger now, a dark Avenger, but he's not the Knight because they have their final battle is here in the daylight in the church. And I'm pretty sure these are stunt doubles. Anything you can't really see their faces, and since Diego's covered, it really helps. But yeah, I mean, that's definitely not the same haircut. It moves by so well and it's edited so well, you don't know unless you can see them. You can hear a lot of Spanish and Italian in that trailer still because they didn't dub everyone. They left a lot of it in there in the background because dubbing was only 2-track back then, if I'm correct. So here they're fighting on a table, and Zorro does the old candle trick, but he slices it and then slices the middle one lengthwise, which looks really cool when he stamps his foot on the table. Really nice touch. And once again, stunt doubles, but they're moving, can't tell. There's Baker, so missing him. There's a lot of other weapons thrown around in here. He uses an axe. The spears are thrown, and it's really well done. And fighting in that cape couldn't have been easy. And here, that's what you hear at the very beginning of the trailer.
A mystery in a mask. A legend that lives and fights in the biggest adventure of them all.
So they're fighting inside the clock tower or the bell tower in the church, or a clock tower maybe. I don't know if it's a bell tower. They're in the church. And they use torches, and I tried to get some better shots, but action movies are hard to get clips from or stills from because they keep moving around. See, there it is. Lovely shot there. They're up there fighting, and there's everyone watching and cheering when they see him. Finally, it's the end. We're right to the end. It's good timing. And he shows his face to Huerta so he can know who kills him. And then I just love the way this is framed here in the sun. Really, they had to get that mark just right. And he's sweating. You can tell, even if he wasn't doing all the exercise, he did enough of it. Yeah. And there he goes. Whoa! And it looks like Assassin pushed him. They don't even see Zorro. Nobody finds out that it's Diego as Zorro in the movie. Tell me that's not a catchy little song. Huerta's dead with a stab wound and bleeding profusely, but the fall would have killed him even if he hadn't bled out. And this is how it ends. Zorro is there riding off, and he leaves Hortensia, although I think that she wasn't a stupid woman, so she probably figured it out. And very dramatic Zorro shots looking like he's in the American Southwest or Mexico. Doesn't matter. It's very much traditional. So there's a little more special effects. I didn't notice any special effects. I'm sure it's camera, the way they shot things and the fire and stuff like that. Special. So Master of Arms, that guy, and the Foley artist. And there is Zorro is back they wrote it and sung by Oliver Onions. Like, that's his real name. I couldn't find out anything about him either. And here's some posters. So it was released over here in 1976, and and it was a popular movie on television. Like I said, This one and the '74 Mark of Zorro with Frank Langella played often, and I would get them confused when I was younger and wonder why one was like half an hour shorter. That one's fun too. It's more Zorro than the 1940 Mark of Zorro that we reviewed. Oh look, if you want to find out more about Zorro, you can order this off Amazon. How about that? It's from this year. Episode it's all in color, and it's only Zorro. So that is the Zorro from 1975, my favorite Zorro movie. And until this is X7 signing off, and until our next assignment, agents, have a good one.
No danger too great. No escape impossible. Zorro's everywhere. It's all new. It's all fantastic. Zorro, the most incredible daredevil in the most spectacular action. It's the all-new adventure of Zorro. It's the flying high, la 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 la. Zorro's back. Zorro, the greatest hero of them all.
Thank God for your life, Sergeant.
Everyone knows the mark. Everyone knows the mask. Everyone cheers his fame. It's the all-new adventures of Zorro. It's all for fun and fun for all. Zorro, the spirit of adventure. A mystery in a mask. A legend that lives and fights in the biggest adventure of them all. It's the flying high, la 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 la, Zorro's back. No danger too great. No escape impossible. There he is! Zorro's everywhere. It's all new. It's all fantastic. Zorro, the most incredible daredevil in the most spectacular action. It's the all-new adventures of Zorro.